to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 186 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I am your co-host, Luke Millette, and here's your host, Jim Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Nick Athens, and if you want to know how to treat your body like a pro athlete and become the best chiropractor out there, stay tuned. We have Dr. Nick Athens coming in from California today. This is episode 186, and you have quite the connection with chiropractic. Before we got going on this interview today, you're telling us how you've been practicing 38 years and 600,000 chiropractic adjustments and sent almost around 60 chiropractic students to chiropractic school on your recommendation. So I think it'd be really cool if you could just kind of share with people your chiropractic story and what got you into this beautiful profession and what keeps you so on fire today.
Well, Jim, that's a good question. Appreciate the interview, first of all. But I guess I got into it back when I was a sophomore in high school, and I hurt my back lifting weights. And after a few visits, a few days of back discomfort of lifting weights, somebody sent me the doctor who said, don't work out for 3 months. And I went to a chiropractor, and after 3 adjustments, he had me working out in 3 days. And I decided that I wanted to practice with my hands, or I wanted to do something with my hands, and I decided to be a chiropractor. And I went back to Palmer, the chiropractor that went there, Dr. Wayne Oler, who passed away since, but he told me to go to Palmer College in Davenport, and that's the best place to go. And that's kind of where I became a chiropractor back there. And what's amazing, when I went back there, I thought chiropractic was mainly for back discomfort, back pain. But what really turned me on to chiropractic while I was in chiropractic school was all the other students who got turned on to chiropractic they had asthma, they had chronic migraines, they had intestinal issues, stomach issues, they had all these other issues that chiropractic was helping. And I thought it was awesome how these doctors, patients became chiropractic doctors from just their experience by getting chiropractic care. And that really turned me on to realize, geez, this is really cool. This is greater than I thought. And so from that point on, I learned more about it and going to school and getting the philosophy and getting from great educational instructors, like Virgil Strang, J. Clay Thompson, Russell Earhart, Fred Barge. These guys were teaching us back at that time. And so you just kind of like it was part of you. It became, another sense in your body. And you took it in, and every day I take it in. I still, to this day, after 38 years, have fire of a 20-year-old come into the office. And, my whole goal is to teach patients and make them better, and turn up their health to another level than they ever experienced, not only by adjusting them, but teaching them how to be better and how to have a better healthcare. And our goal with patients is a better quality of life. So if you could give your patients better quality of life, that's the goal. And so a lot of people are looking for that. And that's what we teach here in the office on a regular basis.
I love that story. Going back to Davenport, Iowa, a lot of people that watch the show know that I'm originally from Davenport, Iowa. And a lot of people know that Luke and I have produced a couple documentaries on the profession. Mm-hmm. And just hearing your story and how much fire you still have after 38 years of practice. How do you stay so motivated, man? What do you do on your healthy habits? How do you stay so healthy and motivated to be the practitioner?
So at 61, I could still, I don't tell people to do this, but I could hit the treadmill. I do heart rate training. And I could get up to 12 and a half miles an hour. I do sprints for 16 sprints. I get up to 12 and a half miles for 30 seconds. And I can still deadlift 275. And I stretch twice a week. So I look at a triangle of health. And I look at strength, endurance, and flexibility. And as people age, they stiffen. They don't relax. They stiffen. And so look at your body like a big machine or a big pump. Recover, repair, nutrients in, waste out. Nutrients in, waste out. And you want to keep the machine like a Ferrari. You want to keep it flowing. And what happens, unfortunately, when people don't take care of their body and feed it right, and they eat sugar, they eat dairy, they don't take care of their body efficiently, food-wise, they in essence start to break down. If you want to play this game for a long time, you got to take care of your body. So by taking care of my body, I've missed like one day in 38 years. I sprained my ankle. I always show up ready to go. I give 110%, and I expect that out of myself. And so in essence, Jim, it's a good question. I've just created a lot of good habits. People have bad habits. I've just created a lot of good habits in my life that I'm structured with. I get up at 4:35 every morning. I hit the gym at 5:15, 5:30, knock out the workouts. And then I start seeing patients like at 6:45, 7 in the morning, and I start going. And I teach patients, and that's kind of like, I don't even think that I should be doing that, right? Because it's kind of everything I set up. But you just got to take care of yourself, man. If you want to have a good quality of life as you age, the reason people have underlying health conditions is because they haven't prevented underlying health conditions from happening. And the doctor's not going to teach you that, because they're going to teach you how to, have a normal blood test through drugs. So if you have hypertension and liver issue and diabetes, we have drugs to get your blood pressure to normal. And so I could have a normal blood test by not taking medication, and a 300-pound guy could have 3 different types of underlying health conditions, take medication. And now, since our blood tests are normal, we're both healthy. But what they don't look at is his ability to react. The 300-pounder, when stress comes in his life, how his body's going to react to a COVID-19, how it's going to react to a stressful situation. So these underlying health conditions that have been marketed as normal, it's totally false. I mean, a lot of them is lifestyle choices and how people live their life. So you have to teach people why do coaches have athletes? I mean, athletes have coaches. Athletes have coaches because the coach's job is to get an athlete to a place that they can't get to by themselves. So my job as a chiropractor is to get a patient to a health level that they can't get to by themselves. How do I do that? By adjusting them, teaching them how to get out of bad habits, and teaching them how to get into good habits for their health. And if you do that, I mean, that's kind of a fail-proof practice. I don't know how you could fail if you do that on a regular basis. Tell me how, if you're preaching that every day, why wouldn't patients refer to you? Because doctors remember, they're not doctors. You have to realize this is professional leagues, and I get professional athletes all the time. And even if you look at baseball, the difference between major leagues and AAA is 9 times out of 10, you're making the double play, not 8 times out of 10. So you just have to be detail-oriented and just efficient and be ready to bring it to the office. So you better be in shape to bring it to the office if you want to deliver healthcare and have a big practice and have them pay you for your services. So that's the whole mindset I've had. I've done it for 38 years, and it's worked out well financially. It's worked out well, physically, emotionally. And I don't know, I have a great staff that works well with me, and it's flowing, and even after that many years, most doctors after 38 get burnt out. I'm not burnt out. I don't know what to tell you. I could go, I guess by feeding myself right and taking care of myself and doing the right things for my health, I just share that with patients all day. And I'm, here was 3 in the afternoon. I'm still ready to go, I started at 6:20 this morning. So Cali John.
That makes you pretty unique. But what else would you say makes you unique or sets you apart as a chiropractor?
That's a great question, Luke. Mindset. So whenever you kind of like being around athletes and performers and, people that produce at a high level, you have to have a mindset where your thoughts don't control you. So I try to stay in the present. So your brain has a tendency to go forward and backward and forward and backward. I do present time activities. So I do kind of meditation. I play golf. I stretch, and I try to stay in the moment. And so I don't let my brain kind of control me. I kind of run my brain and try to focus on a task at hand. So the reason I golf is I know if I focus on the golf ball, I could hit a better shot. Well, that's like in the office when I give an adjustment, I want to be sniper-like. I want to be efficient when I give the adjustment. And I want to give a powerful message to the patient and a powerful result. And the more focused in mindset, the more clear my mind is, I can give the hands really an extension of the mind. And so my hands are extensions of my mind and how I'm thinking. If my mind is clear, my adjustments are focused and sniper-like and efficient, I'm going to get better results. Those patients are going to go out and talk about the practice and how much better they feel, and they're going to send in patients. So mindset.
Yeah, when you talk about that, I think that that's a really cool distinction on what is like a driving force behind you. But when I first heard about you, one of the cool things that I heard is that you were a chiropractor to the athletes, and you helped with Roger Craig, who went to my high school back in Davenport, Iowa,
High school.
Davenport Central. And you were helping with Joe Montana in that 49ers legacy. And I thought that was something that really like stood out to me when Dr. Chris Colgan's like, hey, I want you to talk chemo. I want you to talk to Dr. Nick Athens. This guy's like, he's my chiropractor and this guy's great. And, you know, he like shared some really kindred stories about you. And one of those things that he shared with me is that you took care of these 49ers. You take care of a lot of athletes. But what was it like to work with those guys?
That's a good question. What's it like to work with them? They are, they definitely need chiropractic care, and they love that, and they know that you're improving their performance by getting adjusted. But I don't know. I think what you're seeing is they have this natural gift to perform. And the best thing, you see a Joe Montana and you see a Roger Craig and you see in the 49er era or Tom Brady or Barry Bonds and all these guys that you work with. What I kind of look at is the guy who made the pros from Appalachian State, from Central Michigan University, from Southern Illinois University. I'm just throwing out small universities. And if you made the pros from that level, just think of the mindset you had to have to overcome the belief in yourself that you had to have to make the pros from those small universities, right? They didn't go to the Michigans and the Notre Dames and the USCs, right? And so I like talking to those guys because those are the guys who impress me to say, shit, from Appalachian State, how'd you make the pros? You know, I mean, really, think about that. To make a final 49-man roster on a football team from that college, how did you do it? I want to know, you know? And so you learn from these guys, and they all say, believe in themselves. They just don't let their mind get in the way. They don't get in their own way. They don't have all these thoughts that stop them. And a lot of people, you know, really, when you think about it, everybody's just fighting their thoughts every day. They're fighting the other person inside them, and they're always battling the thoughts with the other person. Should I do this? Oh, no, maybe not. Maybe I'm over, you know, I'm thinking too much. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. They kind of talk themselves out of it rather than thinking less, staying focused, staying efficient, and doing more, right? And a calmer brain is a more efficient brain. Who wants a scattered brain? I don't want a scattered brain. I don't want my mind going all over the place. So I teach people to write things down. I teach people to, you know, write things next to bed, in the car, get it off their brain. And so with these pro athletes, they have a lot more clarity in themselves, and they have a lot more focus, and they want to win. They want to win, Jim. So they want to win so bad, they'll do whatever it takes to win. They want to get the W. And winning to them is like, okay, good. Now we won. Let's go to the next thing. It's like their job is winning. Their job is winning. So to have a mindset of winning, you can't think as much. You have to have crystal clear, what do you got to do to win? So if you could take that same mentality and put it into your office, I don't know how you would fail. So, right? So you would have more successful chiropractors who had a winning mindset, they would be more successful. So I guess what you see is they have a gift of coordination, and they have a mindset of winning. And they'll do what it takes, and they'll train hard, and they'll outwork you. They'll do what it can to and they'll hang around the right people. I always tell patients, you know, look at nature. Why do geese fly in formation? Geese fly in formation because they feed off each other's wings, and there's 30% less energy flying. So they fly in a V formation. Who's the geese that you hang out in your life with? Who's your training partner? Who's your running person? Who's your attorney? Who's your doctor? Who's your, you know, relationship with? Who's your friends with? You see? So make your life easier. Choose the team of people you want to hang around with your life to make your life easier, so it flows more efficient, and you can get right to the point way more efficiently without wasting time. So they hang around the right people. They make good choices. They better choices. They're all kind of like everybody's pushing each other. They're all trying to make each other better. And if someone's trying to make you better, that's a person you want to hang around with, you know? So.
Well, you match intensity with me really well, because I'm always really fired up, and I'm always like hyper driven with communication, and you really match me. So I can appreciate your cadence.
Oh, well, that's great. I'm just kind of trying to share as much as I can after 38 years in my mind, and kind of, you know, share it out there with you, and share with you how chiropractors should just be, you know, chiropractor is just a great profession. It's the chiropractor that doesn't deliver the goods. And, you know, I think the chiropractor has so many thoughts they're trying to figure out. You know, I think what happens, if you could just stay with the basic adjusting and then add, if you need to, you look at chiropractic like a hub and the wheel, right? So you got the hub and the wheel is the adjustment, and then you could add maybe orthotics or nutrition if you want to, or rehab. But the main thing is getting the patient adjusted and teaching them how the adjustment helps them. And then they're willing to say, kind of like, I look at my office like Costco for healthcare. When you go to Costco, you don't just buy a bottle of wine. You go in there and say, wow, I might as well get this, this, and this. So if you come in the office, if the adjustments, the hub and the wheel, they're going to say, wow, what other things do you have I can get from your office? And so I have a chiropractic design mattress. I have seat cushions. I have orthotics. I have nutritional things if they want. So I have other things that they're going to go somewhere else and get it. So I might as well have it in the office to have as an option for patients if they want to improve their health in other ways. So it's worked out well. So now they spend all their money at the office. They don't have to go, right? So, it's a win-win, right? So, and I have other people who do those areas of the office. I just kind of do adjusting and teaching them. And if they want to go into other things, whether it be weight loss or, how they could improve their underlying health conditions, I'm there for them to help them in different ways and have people and team approach. I hang around a bunch of geese, like I told you, to help me get through the day easier. So that's how I kind of set it up. That's my mindset.
So do you have any favorite motivational quotes or mantras that keep you this fired up all the time?
Yeah, I've always, that's a great question. I've thought of one that someone, actually two of them, a 94-year-old guy, Joe Malfatti. I go, Joe, tell me about life. You lived 94 years. And most people will say to me, marry a good woman, get a good job, spend time with your kids. I've had 2 sets of twins, which is crazy through this whole thing. They're 27 and 22 now. But what have I learned? He said to me, Doc, don't get used to nothing. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, 94 years, don't get used to nothing. Things change over the years. You got to adapt to the change. And that was one of them. So I don't get used to anything. I just accept every day as it is. And the second thing I've lived by is you can only coast downhill. So I don't coast in life. I work hard every day. And much like pumping iron, your mind is kind of like the gym. If you pump iron, you're going to get stronger. And if you mentally go against resistance, you're going to get mentally tougher. So I have that physical resistance. I build my body to build strength. And then I have the mental resistance I go through to have a mental mindset to just handle stress. I don't kind of let stress get to me. I ebb and flow through it, and I take it in, and I try to see what I could do to kind of be more efficient with taking in the stress, which helps me make better decisions moving forward, because everybody has stress in their life. A lot of people react to it. And in life, it's not how you act, it's how you react. And so I've learned to react efficiently when stress comes my way and make good decisions and help patients when they come in the office. So, I don't know what else to say, and it seems to be working, and patients love it. They prefer, I don't have to advertise at all. All my patients are in-house because people get their name. And what's kind of cool is you get patients. I said, who sent you in? They said, well, 5 patients sent me in. They told me I had to come down. And I think that's pretty cool when you have 5 patients that are telling this person, they finally decided to come down because so many people, okay, I'll go down. Okay, I've heard the guy's name. I'll go in. All right, I'll go in. That's means you're doing a good job to me.
Well, one of the things I wanted to share with you specifically is you said if people just get out of their own way, they could make a big impact. And one of my mentors who started me in the chiropractic profession 11 years ago would tell me, hey, Jim, if you just get out of your own way, you could change the world. And how that triggered me back then when I wasn't like mentally developed as I am today, I got a little upset with him. And I took that to heart. And now as I'm looking 11 years down the line, I can respect that comment a whole lot more, because I do realize the limiting factor in most people's lives is themselves. And the reason that most people don't thrive and they're not doing what you're saying, they're not living by the healthy habits, they're not waking up early in the morning, they're not drinking water, they're not taking supplements, they're not wearing orthotics for a short leg where they need a leg lift. They're not, doing these things that you're doing, and that you're saying that you're 61, 38 years in practice, over 600,000 adjustments. Like, the reason that you're thriving and doing as well as you are right now is because you're on fire and you're living in your genius zone. And I think that that's what a lot of people just don't know how to get to. They don't know how to connect the dots for themselves. And, you're an artist, Nick. And, that's the thing, is most people are still finger painting, and they don't know how to make themselves into like an artist because they're still like playing in the sandbox. Like most people with their life and their habits, they're still so juvenile in their behaviors. And they get upset when somebody has a conflicting like viewpoint in them, and they don't know how to actually have a conversation because they're not connected. They're not connected. Like before we started, you're like, the reason I love chiropractic is because it makes people's brains stronger. It makes them think clearer. And when you're not getting adjusted, it's not always about the injury that you had as a teenager lifting weights. It's about now, today in 2020, it's about the disconnect from reality to how we can actually take care of ourselves. And self-responsibility is at an all-time high. And if you're not taking care of yourself right now, this whole COVID era is kicking your butt. So I know you're in California too, and there's a whole new like regiment for like how control is happening right now. How has your practice been through this?
Well, ironically, Jim, that's a great question. Initially, it was slow because everyone's staying at home. But now, once they started opening up, and people were so afraid and fear, someone sent me a great text. They said in year 2000, the world was going to end, and then 2001 was anthrax, and then there was the bird flu, and then the swine flu, and then we had the Mayan calendar was going to create the world ending, and then it was, then it was ISIS. And then it was the Zika virus. And then, so what's amazing, Jim, to me is how many times people are wrong and we accept wrong as a standard. Wrong. I mean, you're wrong. So my point being is so the fear, the anxiety, what creates this anxiety of the unknown, right? And so like I told you, I was mentioning to you earlier, your brain, it takes it all in and it creates these thoughts. And the more thoughts create a scatterbrain. And so, like I said, the brain's a bubble making machine. And if you can kind of like thoughts are bubbles. And how can you kind of control and shut down the bubbles? How can you thin out the hurt? Or how can you think less so you could do more? Present time activities is the answer. You have to do things. So these are things I'm going to help you with. So I'll teach you. So the number one, the best mindset I see that I've seen in 38 years are horseback riders. And then I see swimmers have a good mindset. So why would horseback riding and swimming create a calmer mindset? Well, because if you're on the horse, you could fall. So you better really focus. You can't think of work. You can't think of anxiety with your spouse. You can't think of anxiety of the COVID. So you're actually training the brain to be in the moment, right? Swimming, you're going to kind of like take in too much water. You could drown. So you have to focus in the water or else you could drown. And that's a life-threatening moment. So when people put themselves at the highest level of performance, if they kind of like, whether it be a tightrope guy who kind of goes across a tightrope wire, people who have life-threatening things that they do, or they could injure themselves from the act, they have the highest or the calmest minds because they're used to brain training to keep their mind in the moment, because the brain always wants to go forward and backward and forward and backward. It never wants to stay in the moment. So you have to train the brain to be in the moment. And what that does, it creates a calmer brain, a more efficient brain, and a brain that can make better decisions. And then you hang around people that'll help you with those decisions, and you're just better. Now, as you age, you have this experienced brain, you take care of the body, you have a youthful body and experienced brain. That's what, there's your sweet spot. That's what people want. Experience with youth, isn't it? Tell me, what else could you have if you have that? And your health. So if you can teach people how to be calmer, how to have less stress, and how chiropractic, by adjusting their body, creates less pressure. And as a result of the brain, I showed this model earlier, the subluxation model, and I kind of showed this all day in the practice, and the vertebrae shifting impinges the nerve. And with the nerve being impinged, the brain's going to shut down the body. It's going to create less dopamine, less serotonin. So people are going to start going to Starbucks more and Peet's Coffee and eat more sugar. And they're going to start eating because the brain's shutting them down because of the ill health. So they're going to try to use coping mechanisms for this. They're going to try to use alcohol. They're going to use drugs. They're going to use gambling. They're going to use other issues to try to open up or wake up the brain that's trying to naturally shut down the body to try to figure out what's wrong, to try to repair. The body's a repair, recover machine. But if it's not working efficiently, it's not going to repair and recover. The brain's going to shut down the dopamine, serotonin production. People are cranky now. They have bad health. They're in a bad mood. The wife and the husband are arguing with each other. They're both in bad moods because they have subluxations, nerve pressure, and ill health. And that's the result. It's a bad stress in the family. So by adjusting their spines and teaching them, you're opening up flow. The brain's saying, wow, we don't have to read pain and discomfort anymore. Let's do what we do best. Let's throw out more dopamine, serotonin. And you can't tell me when patients get adjusted that their mood doesn't change for the better. Their mood changes. So chiropractic is good for brain health. Who else is teaching that in society nowadays? You tell me. Tell me the other person who's doing that. You're the best doctor out there for patients to have. So chiropractic, if it's taught correctly, should go to the top of the food chain from the COVID virus. And that's what's happening. You asked me a question, so what's happened? So now business is going crazy. Why? Because I'm teaching patients how to be healthier, how your immune system reacts, how your body can react to stress. If you take care of the body correctly, it can react and it adapts. So after 38 years, this is another thing I figured out. The body adapts. I lift weights, I get calluses in my hands. I pump iron, my muscles get stronger. I remove a kidney, the other kidney gets bigger. I remove a lobe of the lung, the other parts of the lung get bigger. If I lose my eyesight, the other senses become more acute. And if I stress my immunity is going to get stronger. So your body adapts to stresses over the years. If your body is going to be more, if you're taking care of your body efficiently, it can react to better stress and it'll take care of you. It'll reward you with good health if you take care of it. So that's the message chiropractors should be giving to their patients and bring it every day to teach people, because doctor means teacher, teach them how to be better. Be the coach, what a coach does for an athlete. Make them better. How can you fail in practice, you tell me, with that attitude? You can't. So the question is, why aren't doctors doing it? Because they're lazy and they're not doing what they need to do to be better themselves and hanging around the right people and reading the right books, reading why B.J. Palmer, read As a Man Thinketh is holding up my phone right here. I look at As a Man Thinketh, look at the articles every day BJ wrote, and I practice what I preach. I practice and I get rewarded for it handsomely with financial, but that's great. And I get a chance to unwind with that. But my point is I still love bringing it because I have that connection, mind and body, where I'm at my age. And I don't know what to say. I love being where I'm at right now.
Well, Nick, if I didn't need this microphone, I'd pick it up and drop it.
So anyways, but and all these things are good habits I've created or tried to create to share with other patients, but the results are there with patients and they refer. And I mean, I'm enjoying practicing the profession, and I love to have my own time. I have balance with my time. I'm not stressed out. I have good balance in my life. I like to golf. We have another place up in Bend, Oregon. I get away from the Bay Area to go up there so I can get two different places. And that gives me my mindfulness. That gives me my Zen-like, and I could come back to deal with stress here. And so I have chaos, serenity, and I deal with it. And I don't let the stress get to me. So I handle myself. I take care of myself. And I don't know. Chiropractors, I think, should kind of practice what they preach and be a healthcare professional and find time to take care of themselves too and hang around the right people and try to get better every day themselves.
You made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle.
So you were mentioning how individual lives can change with chiropractic care. How do you think the entire world would change if everyone got adjusted regularly?
Well, I think if everyone got adjusted regularly and they learned other things, so if they got adjusted regularly but still stayed at 250 pounds to 300 pounds and were overweight, then they're going to be better, but they're not as good as they could be. So it's up to the doc to say, hey, listen, there's some things you can start going out and do some walking. They're going to feel so much better mentally. Remember, I told you reboot the nervous system. The brain now starts putting them in the mood. So what happens is, it's a great question, Luke, is when people start getting adjusted, now they say, wow, I could feel like walking now. I feel like riding the bicycle now. I feel like going on a hike now. Their brain kind of wakes up from getting adjusted. So it's all about brain health. So getting adjusted helps their brain. So they have now they could change the brain from food and alcohol and drugs to better habits with coping mechanisms. They could use walking. They could use stretching. Maybe they do some yoga. Maybe they do meditation now. Maybe they eat better. They stay off sugar. They stay off dairy. They at least eat less inflammatory foods. So their whole wellness of how they take care of their bodies is better. And you're the hub, you're the coach, giving them direction, encouraging them to keep going in that direction. Because if you're not doing it, then remember, I told you, they become their own healthcare counsel. The brain doesn't know the difference between fantasy and reality. If it's told enough, it actually thinks it's true. So these people develop this coach that thinks actually they feed off this other voice, and the voice is always going to agree with them. Why wouldn't it? They've created it. And they need a realistic voice, not the fantasy voice. I'm the realistic voice telling them what they can do to be better. And don't listen to that voice, because that's why you're in here in the first place. You're in trouble. So now I'm a healthcare coach with them and adjusting them, teaching them why the adjustment is so important, which helps the brain, which helps the nervous system, which gets you now a better pattern to get you under control where you can lose your weight and do positive activities to improve your health, which will help improve underlying conditions that you thought you had to learn to live with.
Well, one of the things that you said that I want to just kind of touch on is people have to be an active participant.
Yep.
And there's an old saying that 9/10 of it is just showing up. Mm-hmm. And I think that when you're talking about this, making improvements, but if everybody were to go and get adjusted, I've always told people this, Dr. Nick, I've never recommended chiropractic to anybody that their life got worse. So my message to this question is, if people were to actually go and get chiropractic adjustments, their lives would improve based on what you're saying, the guidance and the coaching of a practitioner who's interested in getting their bodies healthy, not just patching the hole that they're trying to get filled. Like, it's a lifestyle. And that's the thing that you're talking about this whole interview, is you practice the chiropractic lifestyle. You can coach people into practicing the chiropractic lifestyle. But if people aren't an active participant, it's not going to work for them. So that's the thing about it, is self-responsibility and accountability. And that's the most beautiful thing that I've learned about chiropractic doctors, is they allow their patient base to become accountable. And the people that don't show up, that skip their appointments, what happens to them? They don't get better. They don't feel better. They still have brain fog. They still have pain. They still have inflammation. So the conversation goes back to that, is people have to be 9/10 there, and that's showing up. And that gets them professional grade care in whatever quality of life they're looking for. And I know that we've always said, if you get a chiropractic adjustment and you get regular care, you'll be a better worker. You'll have a better marriage. You'll have a better relationship. All these things. We're going to make better moms and better dads and healthier kids. But number one thing is those people have to be active participants in their care.
Yeah, and that's up to the coach, or the why are certain coaches better than others? Why do certain coaches like Belichick win championships? What does he do with his players for New England? Greg Popovich, a coach, Steve Kerr for the Warriors, a coach, right? So, what are these coaches doing for their players to get them to perform better? And they talk to them, they teach them, they get them to understand them. They don't try to say, now, how come when patients, they sorry, didn't come in Monday. Okay, I understand, things happen. Let's get you back on track. I'm not getting down on them. I'm not saying you didn't lose your weight like I told you to, and that's not affecting your, and I said, hey, it looks like you're doing great. And I give them encouragement. I always encourage people, and I don't put stress on them so they feel more stressed because stuff happens in life. And people need to just ebb and flow through life. And my thing is to just keep them on track, And if I could talk to patients, teach them better, they're just going to have a better quality of life. And if their better quality of life improves, they're going to go tell their friends. And I guess the way you can tell if you're doing really well, if the patients, when they leave the office, they're talking about you so much that people want to come and see you. It's like they go home, you won't believe it. I went to see this chiropractor. This adjustment was unbelievable. He did this, he did that. Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Best I've ever felt. You got to go see this guy. So now you're making impact because you've gone to the top of the priority list. They're talking about what you did, how chiropractic worked for them. And, if the practitioner's fired up and he's doing all the right things for himself to be the best coach and doctor he can be, it only makes sense. You wouldn't have a lesser practice from that. Your practice would have a better responsibility to it. Since you're taking more responsibility as a doctor, it looks like to me you have better feedback and patients will be listening to you more efficiently because of the way you think, you see? So in essence, that's why one of the reasons I do all the things I do is because people can't say, well, doc, you don't work out or you don't eat right and you don't do this. And how come that's not working? Well, I'm saying, I'm doing all these things I could share with you from inside. I know it's all working. I test my body. My body's been a test case for this many years. So I know kind of what's working. And I have this sweet spot of mind and body in one. And I want to help you get there too. I have some good information to share with you. And if you're ready to listen to it and listen and how I'm going to teach you and how I take care of you, you're going to get great results and you're going to be happy you came in and you're going to tell your friends. And guess what? People don't mind paying. We have on average, our practice, our visit is $80 a visit. So, I mean, I don't even think that people can't afford it. It's not like, wow, I wonder if they can't afford it, then they tell me. So, and that's like 1% of the people, patients. So they all come in, they pay for their visits, they pay for their care. They actually prepay for care. And most of my visits is cash and they come in, they pay for the care. And I mean, I have some insurance like Blue Shield and PI. The key with the chiropractor is I'm not just giving away service. I'm getting paid for the service I'm giving. And so, and people have, financial issues. I work it out with them. I'm not that type of person not to do that. But I think you make it affordable for patients. You give them everything you got, and they're going to find a way to pay for you and come in and get care. And that's up to the doctor to be the best he could be in order to deserve that.
So where do you think chiropractic's going to find itself in the next 20 years?
I still didn't answer that question, did I?
No, this was the next question.
No, that was the next question. Okay. In the next 20 years, I think it should go to the top of the food chain if it's done correctly. I mean, if you look at our healthcare in America, we're taught that, like I said, eat what you want, drink what you want, and take drugs for health. So remember, our parents came from a position where, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jack LaLanne were kind of cuckoo. And so people didn't really take responsibility for their health. And so as a result, the, big pharma companies said, this is what you could do to get your blood pressure and your blood test to normal. And so go ahead and have all these underlying health conditions that will mark it as normal. And we have drugs if they become abnormal. There's nothing you could do to work yourself on the inside. Everything has to come in from the outside. And chiropractic care is from the inside out. And I think people are seeing that. What's amazing to me, Luke, is I saw a study the other day, and it said, why don't the vaccines work in obese individuals? And then the number one thing you would say, okay, help them maybe lose some weight. That was even part of the equation from the experts. They had 3 reasons vaccines didn't work in obese individuals. The first reason, the needle was only an inch long. It needs to be longer to get the vaccine liquid into the muscle. That was the first reason that perplexed them. The second one, since they're obese, they need more of the vaccine. They need a booster dose to get their immune system to work better. And the third thing, obesity creates a lot of inflammation, so they need anti-inflammatories before they give them the vaccine to reduce the inflammation. So I think people are looking at that saying, really? Why don't they just kind of work on their health care and kind of do other things to help improve their health through other measures, not just drugs? So that's where our society is. Drugs or no drugs? Should I take the vaccine? Should I not take the vaccine? It used to be where the chiropractors were crazy, which is kind of cool, where I was in the 80s. I was a quack getting out of school. I would give my card to some people and they would give me my card back. I would never see you guys. You're quacks. You guys aren't any good. You're not a real doctor. And I just took it and I went to the next person. Next. And eventually those people who gave me my card back were in the office a few years later because they have issues. So people change their mind. Just because they're not that way now doesn't mean they're not going to be that way in the future. Your goal is to stay focused, deliver the good message, be their best you could be every day. And the whole chiropractic profession, why would it not go to the top of the food chain? We're the only ones teaching people how to be better on the inside. Everything else is the outside in. Chiropractic is the inside out. So that's the whole BJDD philosophy. And if you could practice that on a regular basis and deliver that message, you're going to have a booming practice.
Well, this is a lean-in moment for me because I don't typically connect the dots with vaccines in our talks, but I was having this epiphany today, and I was like, do you remember that show where the guy that was on Cheers, the mailman that went behind the scenes, and he did like how it's made? He would go to like these different shops and like look in and say, hey, this is how this ketchup's made. So he'd go to the ketchup factory and figure out how ketchup was made, or he would go to like the speaker factory and figure out how speakers were made. And I was thinking to myself, I wonder if anybody's ever done how the vaccines are made. And if anybody's ever been able to have like
that's a good point. And I think that's going to happen. I think that this vaccine, typically you go to the doctor, they said, get the flu shot. And they said, why? Well, because we recommend it. But why? Because we recommend it. So there's no questions asked. Now there's going to be questions asked. You know, what's in it? What's the side effects? What's going on? Right?
How's it made? Like,
how's it made?
We would think a lot differently about how we fed ourselves too, if we saw how our food was made.
Right.
So I think that we just need a lot more like transparency and responsibility. Like they were calling you a quack when you finished school. Right. And now you're saying they have a change of faith because they're still in a messy situation with their health. They're like, hey, doc, I know that you're really not a doctor, but can you help me now? And you're like,
now you're not a quack.
I could have helped you all along.
And by the way, no patient has ever asked me what my grade point average was in school. So, you know, I was a 3.25. They don't say, hey, were you magna cum laude? Because I'm not going to come see you. So they're going to come see you if you're focused, if you're intense, and if you could help them. That's the bottom line. Can you help me, doctor? And if you could help them, they're going to go tell their friends. And if you're focused and you could teach them, you know, you asked a great question. What happens in 20 years? I got to think more people are going to get off drugs and surgery, or looking for other ways to take care of their bodies besides drugs and surgery. And so chiropractic, if it's delivered correctly, is the profession of use. Tell me a better profession. Physical therapy only does kind of backs and necks. They don't really teach anything about health overall. Maybe acupuncture does, but they probably don't have the main meridian of the spine and the nervous system. And you know, anyone can throw the football, but it's the intention of throwing the football that makes someone great. And so any, you know, manipulation is just non-specific. To me, adjusting the spine, subluxation oriented, and being efficient with it is going to give you the results. So I think that's the key, is being focused, streamlined, efficient, sniper-like, teaching, be the best you could be every day, take care of yourself, don't eat bad, but yet tell people to eat good, do all the things you need to do to be the best you could be. Be a great role model for the profession. The profession needs you to be a great role model. If you're a great role model, you're going on the top of the food chain. If you're not, you're going to always stay at the bottom. You're going to have successful ones, and you're not going to have successful ones. But the unsuccessful ones need to realize, what are the successful ones doing? Hang around them, get ideas from them, learn from them. And so you could be better and take some of these ideas and be better yourself to deliver the message. So I'm indirectly helping other people by making doctors better. So during the Super Bowl, we adjusted Joe Montana back in 1989, because you mentioned Joe. And after that moment, it got like $3 million segment for 30 seconds during the Super Bowl shot. I got Joe off to the side, and I got this in Irv Cross. He was a CBS person. But the best thing that ever happened from that adjustment, you know, the best thing that ever happened from that adjustment is that doctors called me and said, hey, people saw Joe getting adjusted. They said, hey, I got 7 new patients. I got 5 new patients. I got 8 new patients from that. I got this many. Sorry about that. I got 8 new patients from that, you know? So, phone's ringing. Anyway, I can't shut it off. But he says
it's probably a new patient because of that Joe Montana.
That's right. Yeah, new patients are calling already, right? They're on the phone. They can't stop. So I guess the thing I'm trying to say to you is, it made me feel so good that patients, were pretty much, other doctors were seeing patients and they were calling in because of that moment. So there's turning more patients onto chiropractic from getting adjusted. That was the best feeling in the world, by getting other chiropractors, new patients from Joe Montana getting adjusted. That would be the utmost. It wasn't Joe getting adjusted, getting the profession. It was more all the other patients that I turned on to chiropractic because they saw Joe Montana getting adjusted. They set down all their beliefs, and what they did was they went to see the chiropractor because Joe was getting adjusted. It's kind of like Michael Jordan getting adjusted, or LeBron James. People see the athletes getting adjusted. Wow, they're doing it, then it's good enough for me. So that was the coolest thing. So, doctors, if you could stay focused, get new patients, and, that's the lifeblood of your practice, then spread the good message, and that's how you're going to get new patients.
So adjusting athletes, you would say, is your marketing?
Yeah. So initially it was marketing with sports injuries, but then, you realize when they come in, it's kind of like now you can start educating them on their health, Luke, and teaching them how to be better overall. And then you kind of figure out what people do. And now I find out what people do with bad habits. And that's probably one of my strengths, how people sit wrong, how they sleep on their stomach. Contractors get out of the car one leg at a time instead of swinging their legs. People who sleep with their arms over their head. People who sleep or do bad habits, they get themselves in bad. They hunch at the computer a lot. They don't stretch. So, I teach people how to get their shoulders back, how to kind of be better overall. And I teach them how to get out of their bad habits, get into good habits, take care of your body, eat correctly, do all the positive things to your body, and your quality of life is going to skyrocket as you age. You're going to actually slow down the whole aging process. And who doesn't want anti-aging, right? So chiropractic is anti-aging if it's done correctly. And who else wouldn't want to have an anti-aging practitioner that teaches them how to anti-age or to slow down the aging process?
So earlier you were talking a little bit about the books you're reading. What other books are you maybe in the process of reading right now?
I wish I read more, Luke, on reading books. I think I read on mindfulness more, and I try to say, okay, Dalai Lama, how to stay more in the present. And so I put myself in present time activities, and I kind of, try, I read kind of BJ's books. I read mindfulness books. I read how to create what causes stress and anxiety. And I've known that for so long now. And I know if I could keep my mind calmer, I'm just going to be more efficient and fired up every day. I'm not going to let these other outside sources affect me. I kind of like just let them bounce off my body. So it's kind of like a fighter who absorbs punches by letting the other boxer miss them and tiring out the other fighter by just being aware and letting the punches go by you. And so you learn everybody comes at you every day with things. And if you could kind of just react better and be more efficient at your reaction, and the calmer your brain is, the better decisions you're going to make to help people. So what I'll tell them to do is I'll just say, and the yoga and the meditation helps, is keeping them in the moment, deep breathing. So it seems like you're really talking a lot. It seems like to me, you're really kind of like got a lot going on. Let's have you do this. Let's get your face down the table and deep breathe. Just breathe through what I'm doing. And I'm going to teach you and just listen to what I'm saying. That's all I ask you to do. Just breathe. Just stay in the moment. Don't go all the way over the place. Don't go chasing those thoughts, right? So people chase their thoughts. That creates all this anxiety. And the anxiety creates fear. And that's all a mental disorder. Dementia, Alzheimer's, anxiety. So people have, I would argue that more people have anxiety from this than the virus. So issues from the virus. They have more mental disorders have been created from this condition than people who actually have the virus. I would dispute that. I would say that would happen. I have people come in, they're healthcare professionals, say they're slammed with people who come with anxiety. They don't know where to go. They can't shut off their brains. So guess what they do with their brains? They use coping mechanisms. They use alcohol, drugs, food, and they gain weight, and they become alcoholics, and they become drug addicts, and they create all this stuff, and no one's teaching them. No one's teaching these things. It's not okay. The experts are wrong. They're wrong. If they were right, we'd be doing way better as far as they're not teaching anybody anything. They've taught us 5 things through this whole pandemic. Stay at home, wear your mask, 6 feet apart, wash your hands, wait for the vaccine. 5 things. You tell me, any of the experts, what else have they taught you about health?
Here's the other thing.
Nothing.
Well, here's the other thing.
Be a doctor, be different. Okay, go ahead.
You know what they also did is they taught every American to go buy guns, because that's what everybody did at record numbers. They went and got a gun permit, and they went and bought more guns, and they bought more ammunition because they don't trust the government. So that's a whole different topic. But yeah, you're right. They didn't teach them that supplementation would keep them healthy. They didn't teach them to drink a gallon of clean water every day. They didn't teach them to cut sugar out of their diet. They didn't teach them to practice eating real food. They didn't tell them how to find a chiropractor that could help them with their nervous system, that would help their immune system, because that's taboo. You can't be a chiropractor and say, I can boost your immunity, because that's taboo. And the chiropractors hasn't been doing that for 125 years. So now the things that chiropractic has been saying, this guy, D.D. Palmer, said that if you got adjusted, it would have a direct impact on your immune system. But 125 years later, we can't say that anymore with the chiropractic profession, because there's no double, triple blind study type crap. So, where we're at today is a lot of misinformation and fear, and they're trying to basically populate control and shut down the economy is what I think. But I don't want to go too far into, the whole conversation of where we are as a nation, but people do need to become more accountable. And they need to find a doctor of chiropractic, and they need to start practicing healthy habits. And if they think that there's some vaccine that's going to save their life, they are fooled. And I think that when it comes down to it, like you said, you like to golf,
I love to golf. Huh?
You like to do some yoga. So at the end of this interview, I know we're going to wrap up here soon, but what are some of your hobbies besides lifting weights and doing yoga and becoming a ninja or sniper chiropractor?
What are some of my hobbies? I like to stretch. I like to go to the gym. I like to run. I like to do sprints at a track. I like to sprints on the straightaway and walk the turns. And I like to run backwards, sprint backwards too on a track. I like heart rate training. Hobbies. I like to hang out with good friends. I like laughter. I like comedy. I love to golf and hang out with good people. And mindfulness is a big part of my healthcare picture, and you said something earlier about, our healthcare, who runs obesity in our country is the CDC. The CDC runs obesity in our country. So unfortunately, these people should they shouldn't be in those positions. So what you have to do is take care of yourself, and you have to be your own healthcare advocate. You have to look after yourself, and the patients need to hang out with doctors who will lead them in the right direction to teach them responsibility for their health. And that's the whole message here. We want to teach patients responsibility. We want to make them better. We want to get them to a level they can't get to by themselves. We want to talk chiropractic subluxation, getting adjusted, how that reboots the nervous system, how it gets the brain to work better, the thermostat of working more efficiently, and how it gets your body to work at a better level that you couldn't be if you weren't coming in getting adjusted. So, but it's up to the doctor to educate patients. The doctor, it all starts from what the doctor's message is.
So let me ask you this. Is there anything that we didn't touch on that you'd like to share with our audience today before we go ahead and close out?
Let me see. Good habits. Let me see. You can change patients' moods by adjusting them. You could get their brain working more efficiently. You can help them with coping mechanisms, getting on better coping mechanisms on positive, like exercise, yoga, meditation. Get them adjusted. Teach them. Get them out of their bad habits, because so many people, that's an epidemic of bad habits, and teach them. People just need teaching. They don't know. They don't have anyone to go to. So they become their own healthcare coach and their own advocate, their own counsel. And they're wrong with that because, like I said, that voice is always going to agree with them. They need someone to kind of teach them why they need and what they could do to take care of themselves, and depend on someone to always be there for them to get adjusted. And when they come in, to depend on you to keep them going in the right direction. Much like coaches call timeouts. Every visit's kind of like the patient calls timeout. They're coming in to try to get better. And so your goal is to make them better. Why does a coach call a timeout? He's trying to make the players better. Why do they have halftimes? They're trying to make adjustments to the game and see what's going better. So you're always making corrections as a doctor, and then you're teaching the patient to be better. They're going to tell their friends. They're going to tell their whoever they associate with to come see you. And now you have this big chiropractic family that you've built who's paying you, giving you a great lifestyle, and repeat. Same thing, right? And you're having fun. Like I said, I have a place here. The place is in Bend, and I get a chance to kind of get away, have mindfulness, and sell a place here. And I don't know. I mean, it's so far. I'm happy where I'm at. The kids are older. I've educated 4 kids through 4 major universities: St. Mary's, Tulane, UCLA, and Oregon. So it's like I couldn't do that if chiropractic wasn't financially good for me. So my point is, these are 4 major universities with 4 kids, educating them through chiropractic care. So now one of my youngest ones wants to finally be a chiropractor, which is great. And I never talked him into it. I never forced him. And now he wants to be a chiropractor, and he's going to start Palmer now when he's done with Oregon University and go back there at Palmer. So that's good. I got 1 out of the 4 becoming a chiropractor, which is cool.
Well, this is a super exciting interview.
Yeah. Well, no, I appreciate it. I hopefully share the message, and the doctors make the doctors better, and the doctors can help more patients out. And doctors, take care of yourself. Be better. What can you do to be better, to be a better practitioner, to represent the patient, represent the profession at the highest level? That's the key. Look at yourself like a pro athlete. Pro athletes are there because they're doing the little details that make them better. So be better detail with your diet, with your fitness, how you sleep, how you take care of yourself, mindfulness, yoga, meditation, things that kind of give you balance in your life to be better, that you could share that now with your patients to make them better. And they're going to stay, they're going to pay, and they're going to refer.
Amen.
There's your answer.
So what are some websites people can go to if they want to learn more about you?
Well, I have an Instagram account called Better From Within. And then Athens Chiropractic Clinic is another Instagram account. So, and I just do teachings on there to show patients teachings on how their body works and how to help their body do repair and recovery better. And how their body can be a better pump. I mean, most people, they're like an LA traffic jam inside. They're not flowing, they're not repairing, they're not recovering. And as a result, a lot of underlying conditions start to happen. And so my whole goal is teaching them how to get the pump working better, how to be efficient flowing inside. And chiropractic helps with the flow by getting pressure off the system that runs the body. So you're getting the whole body working better through getting adjusted, and then giving them a whole wellness lifestyle. That's what you want to teach. Wellness lifestyle to give a better quality of life.
Well, Dr. Nick, I love you. I thank you for being our guest today. And it's been a real pleasure to get to know you. And I look forward to the next opportunity that we have.
I'm there for you. Just let me know, Jim. Luke, I appreciate it. I'm glad we finally got the Zoom to work. Appreciate you being patient. Yeah.
It was nice talking to you today, and we want you to enjoy the rest of your evening.
And keep going, talk doctors, and get the message out there. You guys are doing a great job. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nick. And like Luke said, have a good night, okay?
Okay, guys, you too. Bye-bye.
Okay, see you soon.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.